So has anybody ever wanted to install speaker lids on their Harley-Davidson bagger? Well, you can buy them on eBay anywhere from $60 to $300, just depending on your budget, depending on what you want to spend. But you can buy cheap lids, you incorporate a nice speaker in them and have a pretty nice sound, but making them weather tight is probably going to be a problem too. But I will show you that these lids they're cheap. These are like, I think I'll give $70 for these, and I think I'll give $100 for the speakers. So you just want to mount them in there and mount them on the bike. But I'll show you here in a second what I started with and what I ended up with. So here's the lid that I got off eBay. They come in a pair, and here's what it looks like when I put the speaker in. Okay, the fasteners and stuff ain't not the best. But, I went with a 2.7 ohms Harman speaker made by Infinity, which Harman Kardon's of course, the Harley radio, but this kind of is close to what you'd have from the factory, and you don't have to spend that big crazy money if you don't want to. But you can get the same results, and they look pretty nice, but they'll come packaged up like this right here, of course, and you'll get shipped from eBay. Of course, that's where I went. But this is what the speaker looks like in its form before you take it out of its wrapper. And here's what they are. 2.7. They're Primus Harmans, 6x9s. They're a tri-way speaker. And then you got your hardware. These are the clips and screws that comes with the speakers. Now, as you can see, they're extremely long. They won't work unless you cut them off, and you can cut them off. It's your preference, but I found these gold screws that I will be using in my application, but I'll have to flatten the clip out because the clip it's made to clip onto the bracket or onto the lid itself, but the lid is so thick that you can't get them to go on there. I'll show you here as soon as I get it out of the wrapper here. Now look here. On this particular lid, you can see the thickness of that, but then if you look down here, the thickness, it will not go on that unless you open them up extreme amount. But if you do, the problem with opening them up real extremely a lot is the clip won't fit right, and then it'll rub the foam of the speaker on the edge, and then you got problems. So you really need to mount the speaker inward like this. They give you a little band with the speaker that goes around the outside perimeter. And it'll obviously, you can see it lifts it up about a ½ inch or so, and it'll get away from the surface. It goes just like this, And I'm shooting for putting the speaker flush against it. As you can see, there's no spacer. I did use the foam that comes with the speaker to mount it, to try to take it and make it airtight. Obviously, keeping water out of these lids is going to be murder, but as you do it, you'll figure out that sometimes keeping water out of your bags, period, can be a pain in the butt. Okay, so I took the wrapper off the speaker. As you can see right here, that's what it looks like. You got grills, but the grills you will not use. Not in this application, obviously, you can see that. But you need to take the screws out of here and then pop this insert out of your lid, as you can see. And then, of course, mount your speakers. Just don't lay it on the foam, lay it on this foam or something, or just lay it on something to keep it from scratching lids. I got these painted with the Vivid Black, which is nice because a lot of times a painted bike with special colors, you'll have so much money in those lids painting them. So in my case, being Vivid Black, it's available on the online already. So that's why I went with Vivid Black. because my bike's vivid black. And then when I'm done, I'll have to glue this strip in, this weather stripping around the edge. You'll glue it in with some type of weather strip sealant or whatever, or sealant, or glue, whatever you want to call it. But anyway, and then you got to mount your straps on. You got your straps right here, and they mount to this bracket. You go from the band that's this wide in your original lid to a little strap that wide. And the reason is because you're taking up the space for the speaker, so they just want to keep it from flopping and busting something. But that little flap with the fabric flap, I would call it, which says Harley Davidson. Of course, you got to take it out altogether. But I mean, it's one of those things where if you're looking for some more audio, trying to keep your bike streamlined without going too aggressive and too crazy, this is a good option. It's not a very expensive option. You can do this, especially with the Vivid Black bike, because you can buy the lids already painted, and that's a good thing. But you know, you source out your speakers. I tried to stay as close to the 2 ohms that I could get, so the amplifier, the built-in amplifier on the Harley Davidson, would be closer to the factory, and the output levels would be somewhat the same. But if you kick it up to a 4 ohm doesn't run as hot. It keeps the stereo system cooler, but on the same hand, you know, you got to look at the fact that a cooler running amp's great, and that's what you want. But on a Harley Davidson audio system, it's 2 ohms system. Now, most of your aftermarket speakers are 4 ohms, which allows the amplifiers to run cooler because of the resistance level. Now, in order to try to stay at the same power level and sound level that the factory radio puts out, you want to try to stay around the 2 ohms. Obviously, it's designed to run that way, but you can step down, or step up actually, to a 4 ohm. It's a better speaker, doesn't overheat the amplifier as much or run hotter, but you will lose some audible sound. You will. Everybody says you won't, but you will. So I found these speakers, and they're 2.7 ohms of resistance. Now, that's closer to the 2 ohms, not quite the 4 ohms. The audio level should be the same or very close. So when you're buying speakers, you have to put that in mind over the ohms resistance. Now, if you're going to change your head unit to a Kenwood, an Alpine, a Pioneer, they're all based upon 4 ohm systems, and that's awesome because that's a way better sounding stereo, and everything operates at lower temperatures. It doesn't overheat the circuitry, and it's good. It's good to have that. But however, the Harley stuff isn't operating at that ohms level; it's operating at 2. So, like me, I'm trying to stay within my Harman Kardon system that I've got for now, and I'm going to go with the 2.7 ohm speaker. I've upgraded everything else. I might as well upgrade these. So that's the reason being on that. So I'm going to install them, and we'll see how the system works and how it sounds. I'm thinking when I take my tour pack off, the lids will fill the void for the sound that I'm missing behind me. Now, am I looking for crazy sound? Obviously not, or I would be going with better, crazier stuff. They even make lids with 2 6x9s in them. I mean, the sky's the limit on this stuff, so you just got to find your little sweet spot, and that's what I kind of did at this moment. So if everybody out there does the same thing and do it on your budget and what will work for you, that's all you need to know. But stay tuned. I'll have more to show, and right now, this is all I got.